Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jasmine or Jazzy, and today we are going to be flipping through my reading journal for books that I read in 2022 and most of 2023. I said that I would post the books that I read in 2022 a long time ago, and that hasn't happened. So we're going to do that today along with the books from January through August. And that's because I have used every single page in this journal, and we'll talk a little bit about where the rest of my reading notes live for the rest of the year. So, growing up, I always enjoyed reading. My mother is an educator, and so reading was always a really important part of my childhood. And my father, growing up, was not great at reading, so it was also important for him that my brother and I read as much as we could, learn as much as we could, soak up as much knowledge as we could, since we were capable of doing that. And the school that I went to for middle school and high school was a literature, what we call a literature magnet, literature based school. So even in like all of my science classes and even in art and physical education, we had to write papers and read books on the different things that we were learning, different topics, different concepts, even different sports or games that we played. We had to read books about them and write papers about them. And so I always liked reading, I always enjoyed it. But as I got older, there wasn't as much of an inherent, what do you call it? It just wasn't embedded in my life as much when I graduated high school. And in college, I was only reading the things that were absolutely necessary. And then when I graduated college, I was only reading things that were like self-help or business self-help or stuff like that, which is helpful. They're good books, but it's boring if that's all you read. So last year, at the beginning of 2022, I decided to do a challenge where I was going to read 22 books. I wanted to read 22 books. I wanted to get back into reading more and reading more of what I liked. And I had a lot of fun with that. I read some classics. I read some books that I've never heard of. I still read a few self-help, a few business-related books. I read fiction, fantasy, historical fiction. I mean, I really tried several different things, some poetry, some novellas, all of that. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I knew at the end of 2022, I knew that I was going to do the same thing for 2023. I also knew that I really enjoyed this kind of scrapbook style of collecting notes and ideas from books. So this is my review for 2022. My favorite book of the year was The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. And these are just some basic stats that I have. Nothing too serious, just something fun I thought could fill up this page. So I knew I wanted to keep up with the scrapbooking concept, design basically of my journal. And I said, oh, it's 2023. I'll just read 23 books in 2023. Don't worry about counting all these. It's more than 23. I can just tell you that right now. It's way more than 23. And as of recording this video, there's actually a bunch of books in October. Every book that I've read so far this month in October, I haven't put in here yet. I'll get to that later. And this is still, there's still 2 months of the year left. So as of today, October 27th, 2023, I have read 97 books, and the main way I have been able to read those is audiobook. I would say, I think looking at my stat sheet earlier today, about 87% of the books I have read are audiobooks. And I love that because I do a lot of driving, I've done a lot of traveling, I'm on the road a lot, so in between airports, long road trips, staying in hotels where I'm by myself, instead of turning the TV on, I'll go for a walk and pop in an audiobook, or I'll sit and draw and listen to an audiobook. So I have discovered so many different tropes that I love, like, and hate. I have discovered so many authors that I love, like, and hate. My TBR has increased exponentially. It's quite ridiculous. My physical TBR is about 15 books. My virtual / audiobook TBR is about 40. And, one day I'll get to them. I will get to them one day. But I have really enjoyed writing down notes and thoughts and putting together these collages for these books. It's really fun to look back on these and think, man, I really did enjoy reading that book, or man, that was a really difficult book to read, or man, I really did not have fun. And I think just, a book doesn't always have to be fun or interesting or insightful to be fun, interesting, and insightful. For me at least, to be able to experience a book that does that gives me an experience. If the experience is I loved it, I couldn't put it down. If the experience is it made me, be really mindful about the way I speak to people. If the experience is I don't ever want to hear anybody talk about mushrooms again. Whatever the experience is, it's still enjoyable at the end of it all. So it's nice to look back and reflect on what those experiences have been. I'm curious to know in the comments, which of these books have you read? You should see there's a lot of books here. There's middle grade, there's some high fantasy, maybe mid fantasy, young adult fiction, a lot of young adult fiction. That was my jam the first half of the year. I was really into that. But what books are you seeing as I'm flipping through that you've read? What are some books you think are interesting? What books do you see that maybe you're looking forward to reading? Very curious to know. So leave that down in the comments below. Now, like I said, I have used every single page in this journal. Honestly, a little bit surprisingly. Like, I knew I would read 23 books. I knew 23 was not going to be difficult. I did not think it would be 97 by the end of October. So I originally, and I'll post the link to this video down in the description below, but at the beginning of the year, I originally thought once I finish this journal, once I've used every page, then I will use a new journal that I got from one of the Archer and Olive subscription boxes as my reading journal. And I am going to do that, but I didn't want to start that partway through the year. So I'm not going to use that journal. Instead, I am using my second daily planning journal for daily planning and reading, because that journal is just going to be used from September to December, and I don't want to put 4 months of a year in a journal and then the rest of another year in the same journal. I need some separation. Okay, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's a weird quirk. I don't think it's weird, but that's just how I am. So now that we're done with this journal, every book that I've read since the end of August, 1st of September through December, will be in my daily planning journal, my second daily planning journal. I will also leave a description down in the link below for the flip through of the first daily planning journal that I used this year, so you can go check that out. And then later at the end of the year or the beginning of 2024, we'll do another flip through of the second daily journal that will also have the rest of the books I've read this year. So that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe, turn on the bell so you get notifications when my very irregular videos come out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.